Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording Sunday, November 23rd, after the Celtics win over the Orlando Magic. Shorthanded Magic, mind you, but still a win nonetheless. Bounce back after the Celtics lost to the Nets on Friday. Final score 138-129, shootout. Magic made a huge second half comeback. Celtics held on, improved to 98 on the season, and squeaked out of here just barely after a big surge in the fourth from Orlando.
Yeah, the Celtics just can't really decide like who they'd like to be. And I know that's kind of like something we've talked about all season, and it's like, yeah, that's kind of what like a 500 team looks like. But at the same time, it actually is pretty frustrating considering the stakes of Friday's loss, with it being the Cup. Half joking, but like I do think it would have been fun to at least set up a Cup winning game or a Cup competing game on Tuesday or Wednesday against Pistons. But the Celtics, the reason why it's so frustrating is because they played the most belt to ass half of basketball that they played all season. Maybe they score 80 points in the first half. They're up 23 at the break after a 48-point second quarter. Where like this is a game where Nimi got hurt. Neemias Queta, who has been somebody. We can't sit here and pretend like he's a superstar, but they are noticeably worse statistically with him off the court. And he got hurt, and they managed to blow the doors off this Magic team. They made everything, like they were shooting like 60-something% at the half. Like there were a lot of like, oh, this is a nice thing, but we can't expect it all the time type of performances going on. But then there was some stuff that it's like, why doesn't this happen more often? This was like another good Anfernee Simons game, even though it was different than the last one, like not in the best way, in my opinion, which we can talk about later. Josh Minott was awesome in this game, had himself quite the quote post-game about his role on the team. And another just tremendous Jaylen game. I guess we can start there. Jaylen just continues to be a leader and willed this team to wins. He had 35 today. Didn't realize it, but somebody in the post-game asked him about it and was like, hey, you had 12 straight points in the fourth quarter when things were going to shit. Yeah, pretty brass balls move from Jaylen Brown, because it was not looking good there when Jet Howard, who Eddie Palladino, the public address announcer, got his name wrong for half the game and was calling him Jeff Howard, lit the Celtics up for, 26, 30 points, something in that range. Went nuclear in the second half, led the Magic back in this game. I mean, Jaylen, credit to him for stopping. Somebody tweeted the Spider-Man meme of him stopping the train. Like, that's literally what this was from Jaylen. Impressive.
Yeah, Jaylen was great. 35, 4 and 8, a steal, 14 to 26, 2 of 6. I don't know if this was his best game of the season. It might be. It felt like it for stretches. I would need to go back and look at some of the other games to jog my memory, but he was awesome. Credit to him. This was the weirdest game this season, in my opinion, because it felt like outside of probably Jaylen, everyone who played well also played like shit for stretches. Like Anfernee Simons was on a burner, like on fire, playing good defense, and then he fouled himself out of the game by picking up 3 of the most like ridiculous fouls I've seen in a row. Josh Minott was so impactful in that first stint, and then he was just like not good enough to be on the court in the third and fourth quarter. Like he played like 8 second half minutes, and he got subbed out because he was just out of position a bunch of times. Jordan Walsh didn't play a lot in the first half, and then had a great stretch. Like it would. Chris Boucher got his first minutes of the season. It felt like he had a couple good blocks, and then he was just bad on a bunch of possessions in a row and didn't see the floor again. It was just such a weird basketball game. Gonzalez, a couple good possessions, and then fouled bad and got subbed out. Baylor Shireman, played some good minutes, I thought, and then got a foul and then subbed out. Derek White had good stretches and bad stretches. I thought this was a good Derek and Peyton game, though, for what it's worth. I mean, Derek had 5 stocks. Peyton had 19, 5 and 8 on pretty good efficiency. I thought those two were fine by and large, but like for the most part, the role players, like outside of Jaylen, Peyton, and Derek, it just felt like you were either really good or you got subbed out. And not because, you weren't good enough to be on the floor, but because they made like a string of mistakes. It was so weird. And then I asked Simon about it after the game, and he was basically like, yeah, we didn't have a bunch of those guys on the scouting report. So it took us a second to fucking figure out what was going on. But the defense went to shit in the second half. Like it was pretty bad the whole game for what it's worth. I think the first half it was just masked by red hot shooting, but the transition defense continues to be pretty bad. And then the half court defense kind of fell apart a little bit in the second half too, and the Magic got hot from there, and they got in a rhythm, and then they were just making the contested ones too. Just such a weird basketball game. And I don't mean this to say Simons or Minott or, Walsh or anybody played bad. I think by and large, everyone played pretty well. It just, everything kind of fell apart in the second half. And there were just stretches for everyone where you can point to and be like, what the hell is going on? Everybody. Jaylen had a couple stretches on defense. Pritchard got blown by a bunch on defense in this game at times. Derek White had a few offensive possessions where he had a couple turnovers that were like, what the hell? Like it was just such a weird game from everybody. And obviously guys like Jaylen and Peyton and Derek played better overall to the point where it's like, this was a really good game from them. But like, it just, everybody on the team and the team as a whole in particular, it was just weird. Like it was a weird game and they got the win, but it didn't feel like they played the brand of basketball that you've looked at times this season and be like, okay, I see the vision. That's going to win. That team's going to win some games. It just, it was awkward.
I think there's a part of this where outside of the guys in Anfernee Simons that are back from the championship level team, there are a lot of players who are lacking in NBA experience in the sense that it's like either somebody like Ugo, who's literally a rookie, or Baylor, who's a second-year guy, or like they've been around a couple years but just haven't seen the court, like Jordan, Josh, Luka. And when you rely on those kind of guys, this is the sort of play you get. It's something where it's like, they're not bad. Like, I don't think you could have watched the Celtics this year and been like, I don't think any of Josh Minott, Luka Garza, Jordan Walsh, Ugo are good, or Baylor Shireman. We'll put them in there. Like, you can't watch games consistently and be like, I don't think pick any of them are good, right? But at the same time, I think we as people in the media and like especially like kind of people who support the team are very quick to praise it, and it's deserved praise, but like to maybe go overboard with the praise and be like, these guys are going to be great, they're going to be a great fit, which they might be, but like there's a level of inconsistency that comes with having a young team, which is frankly what the Celtics have outside of their returning players. Like this would be like a team like, I don't want to use any of the bad teams in the NBA because a lot of these teams have just been bad for a while. But when you think about, let's say, I'm going to use the 14-win Pistons of all the teams. A team like the Pistons a couple years ago where you could clearly see like Cade Cunningham was a good player. You knew the supporting cast guys were kind of good, like in terms of like Jalen Duren, Asir Thompson. Like you knew they had something in there, but they just weren't able to do it consistently, like night to night, or even like throughout an entire game. And you're seeing that more and more like with this team. Like, yeah, Minott's my story for today. I thought he was awesome. But like, you're right. Like one of the reasons why he lost his spot in the starting lineup is because there are stretches where he just isn't really effective for whatever reason. But then there's a stretch like in the second quarter where he's asked to play small ball 5 and he goes out there and his athleticism enables him to be an incredible dunker spot target and he's making threes. So it makes him able to stretch the floor in even more than one way. And then he's wreaking havoc defensively. Like, yeah, that's the formula for a winning player. But then there are other times where it just doesn't work for whatever reason. And I think that whatever reason is the lack of experience. And it's something we're all going to have to get used to because we have a lack of experience in having inexperienced players over the last couple seasons.
Yeah, Minott had the quote in the night in the locker room. He was asked like, what was it like emotionally? Like, what was your thought process when you're taking out the starting lineup, and like, was it difficult? And he was like, well, if you're homeless and you get $20 and then you lose it or like whatever, he's like, you never really. You're pretty grateful because you didn't have the $20 in the first place, or if you're poor and you get $20, it was funny. It was like a good perspective quote on like how he dealt with it. But even regardless, like going back to the sort of what's the word? Not inconsistency, inexperienced thing you mentioned. Every time Jaylen Brown has gotten to the podium, it's been like, yeah, we need experience. Like that is why there's some struggles. I asked him like, what'd you think of the improvements from last game, the Nets game, where he was very clearly frustrated to this one. And he was like, thought we did better. And John Corrales followed up and he was like, I think experience is where you have to win so many of these games. The Celtics have been in so many games. I like the 3 that come to mind, and the 3 that I found are like a game in Philly, this game, and the Clippers game where they're up big and then they just lead whittles away. And Jaylen Brown said it does feel like an experience thing. Like you rest on your laurels, you let the other team get back into it. In this case, you let a bunch of guys who haven't really gotten court time. Like I don't even think Franz Wagner closed the game today, right? Like it was just
No,
all
it
of
was
the
literally
rookies and the young
they let
guys
the
and
guys
the
just go
randoms.
nuts.
And it's hard when, that situation comes around, and Joe Mazzulla talks about it all the time of like, if you're up big, you're just trying to, fight against, the pressure of the other team. And if you're down big, you really have nothing to lose. And so there is no hesitancy. There is no thought. It's just, I'm going to do whatever it takes to win this basketball game. And that's where some of the difficulties come in, I think, when you're put in that spot. But before we continue, I do want to tell you guys about Prize Picks. Prize Picks, the best place to get real money sports action this basketball, football, whatever season you'd like. Check it out. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. It's the holiday season, the best time of year for sports, bowl games, basketball matchups, playoff pushes, and more. It's all happening at once. And while you and I are out there making decisions like what gifts to buy, what to eat, what game to watch, or what to put on your plate on Thanksgiving Day, there's one place where it feels good to be right, which is Prize Picks. If you're looking for Celtics game action, make sure to check out the Stacks feature. In a game like tonight where Jaylen Brown is on fire, you can pick up to 3 of the same players' picks in your same lineup. It can be a Jaylen Brown more on points, Jaylen Brown more on rebounds, Jaylen Brown more on assists, or dunk or steals or blocks or 3-point attempts or field goal attempts or whatever it is. You can pick up to 3 of the same player in the same lineup only on Prize Picks. You can check it out. Also for football, if you're a Drake May fan, which most people in New England are at this point, you can make sure to get some action there as well for Pat's season. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. But yeah, it just feels like the Celtics are continuing to learn as they go. And that's okay. And it's kind of natural when you have a team like this, but it's definitely going to be some growing pains in the middle there.
I think, like, more than anything, like, if you're a fan of this team and you like watching this team, which, like, I think this team has been a lot of fun to watch. I think you said on the pregame, like, really look forward to watching the games because you don't really know what you're going to get. I think the inexperience layer to it should make you more excited as the season goes on. I really feel like there's something here where it's like, yeah, Minott and Garza have been in the league, but like they lack things at times. And by the time the season's done, they'll probably have made more appearances in Boston than they had made in Minnesota, like across their whole careers. Like that will be experience that you can do something with, you can learn something from, you can grow from. And I think like a game like today is great because not only did Minott play well to get his confidence going a little bit, but there's also film that they're probably going to be like, look at this, figure it out. And they're going to get him to become a better player. I just think like as a fan, you kind of have to get used to it because it's not really something that we've all had to deal with here. It's like, oh, the Celtics are just this optimized machine basketball team and everybody's ready for everything. And I think it could get better as the season goes. I feel much different today than I did after Friday's loss against the Nets. Like that is the beauty of this too. It's like, it's over, we're back. It's over, we're back. It's over, we're back every single game. I think there's just a lot of exciting things and there's potential for guys to be good players, but it's just going to take time. And, you know, tonight was a prime example.
Yeah, this is an imperfect basketball team. And I think we knew that coming into the year, and you're kind of getting that dose of reality, like the reality check of, okay, wait, shit, this team's not going to just win every single night. They're not going to be expected to win every single night. And that's a new feeling, I feel like, for Celtics fans that they haven't had to experience, which is a luxury of the team that has been in place for the past few seasons. But it is a luxury no longer. Past Jaylen, who we talked about, I mean, phenomenal night for him. Simons was great. I don't think we should gloss over it. And I know we mentioned it too, Minott too, but Simons, it feels like he's really finding something a little bit these last couple of games. And I think it's going to lead to people thinking he should play more minutes. And I agree there can be spots for him to play more minutes, but like the reason he came out of this game was because he fouled 3 times inexplicably. And Joe was like, this can't be on the floor anymore. And I think when you get 22 minutes, 23 points, I don't want to say that's going to be a perfect Simons game because ideally, like you can leave him in for longer, he can score even more points, but like I think this is pretty close to an ideal Anfernee Simons game for what the Celtics should be looking for, because realistically, like you can only go so many possessions where you're fouling like that or you're giving up defensive mismatches like that. But if you can squeeze 25 to 30 out of him every night and get this level of efficiency or close to it, I mean, he shot 70% tonight, so that's not going to happen on a game-to-game basis. But like, I think this is pretty optimized for what you want from Simons, and I give him credit for staying ready and sort of figuring out and navigating what this new role and everything is going to look like for him.
Yeah, I've kind of felt like the new role thing is a real storyline, and it's like important. Like, you're asked to do literally everything for the last 3 seasons of your NBA career. And then you come here and you don't always have the ball. And he had this quote in October that was like, yeah, like I have to trust that when I get the ball, I don't have to like make the most of it every single time, because like that's like he's like adjusting to like not having the ball, and he kind of feels like he has to do everything with it when he actually does get the ball, if that makes sense. I don't have the exact quote in front of me, I'm sorry. But he was good again today, but he was good again in more of the way that he had been good like earlier in the season when he would just catch fire. Like, I think today was more dependent on him catching fire defensive side than like the last game. They lost the last game, so like I understand. But like the last game, he really felt like he was getting people involved more than he did today. Today it was very much, I'm going to cook, and the oven and stovetop were on today. So it worked, and it was worth the 22 minutes. But I would hope to see more and more of what we saw against the Nets, and I think that is the best version of him here. And the big question mark with that is like, yeah, that version of him came with Jaylen 5 fouls. Like, he had foul trouble. Of course he was going to like have to initiate everything. But he was good today. Like, I'm not trying to complain and be like he was bad. I think the next step for him in Boston is great. Now you know the ball can go in the basket. Be more confident that you can give it up. And it didn't feel like he was super duper confident that he could give the ball up today, which is just a nightly thing. And 8 of 11 from the field, I'm not sure how much I want him to actually give the ball up either.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be a progression thing, but I think he's heading in the right direction. Josh Minott also is just a good 3-point shooter now, which I don't think many people expected when he got to Boston. I mean, he's
definitely not you
he's
with the video.
No, I mean, he's never
video.
been a good 3-point shooter
He
at
hasn't.
any stage of his career, and so for him to figure it out here is a breath of fresh air. I mean, he took a fucking step back tonight and made it. That's ridiculous. So credit to him. I mean, he's
on a fast break. Peyton Pritchard trailing in rhythm, looks at him. He goes, watch this, and fires up a step back and instead of hitting Pritchard for a walk-in 3. I'm sorry, continue.
No. I mean, it was great. It was fun. It was cool to see. He had a couple of those dunker spot buckets, like you mentioned. Jaylen Brown finding him. Came out of the game eventually. I think the defense fell flat a little bit at times. In the second half, I think he got out of position on a couple of rebounds, something of the sort. But overall, I mean, you can't complain much when he has a game like he did, where he scores the ball like he did, 16 points on efficient shooting. Like, I think he missed one shot, 2 shots, 1 shot, 7 of 8, 2 of 3. Really good work. Great Josh Minott game off the bench.
Yeah, and one thing that I noticed early in this game was it just felt like he was playing with more of a swagger. I don't know if it was after he made a dunk off a cut or something. Like, he just got an easy basket. Then it just felt like he was more confident on defense. It went away, but it was there in the first half. Like, if you go back and rewatch this, he's just kind of moving different. It looks like he's like ready to just fuck somebody up if they come in the lane. Like, don't try and put the ball on the floor near him. He was skying in for rebounds again, which was a big part of his performance today, of course, being used as the small ball center, as we mentioned earlier in the show. I think finding that confidence consistently is going to be the key for him becoming in every game significant rotation player. Like, he's playing rotation minutes now, but like, if he's confident, it's going to be a difference maker for him. It's going to be a difference maker for the team, because the team gets his awesome chaotic skill set with the all of a sudden great 3-point shot, and they can use it every game. But like, we can't sit here and pretend like this has been a perfect season for Minott, because there's a reason why he's fallen out of the starting lineup and Walsh has gone into it. It's because he hasn't carried the same confidence. He hasn't played the same way. He's fouled a lot over the last month or so since he got hot. Like, there's a lot that's gone into this, and there's room to grow. That's all that it means, is there's room to improve, which is good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's up and down for most players on the roster, but Nimish Keita, no update on him injury wise yet. He looked to be in a pretty good amount of pain when he left the court, unfortunately. So I don't know what it's gonna be like. If I had to guess, it probably means he's gonna miss a week or two at least. It just looked like a pretty rough ankle sprain. I didn't see the play, but he was in pain limping off the court. So Celtics might have to learn to get by. No Garza in this one, I think largely just because the Magic didn't have a center or didn't succeed with the center. So the Celtics were like, fuck it, let's just play a bunch of wings who are our better players anyways. And it was fine. Noah Penda played well, which makes me happy personally because I think he's a good player and I'd like to see when I'm looking good. But outside of that, I don't know if there's anybody else you wanted to talk about in particular. Sam Hauser can shoot again for now, which is nice. Made a couple, saw some go down. Celtics set him up nicely, which feels like they haven't set him up for a nice enough nice threes throughout this little stretch here. He missed a few good ones in the Nets game, but by and large, he's just not getting as many clean looks as he was, which makes sense because the personnel they lost. But it was good to see him, see a few go down.
Yeah, like in the Nets game, I think he took 3, and at least 2 of them were like near the logo, which by the way, like a couple years ago, the Celtics made the logo here like significantly bigger, but like you're still out by the logo. Like you're a guy going into today, he was 7 of 42 in November. If you're 7 of 42 in November, maybe to get yourself going, the logo is not the place to go.
Well, I don't think it's his fault.
No,
I don't think it's his fault. Yeah.
As a team, I'm sorry, it did come out like I was blaming him completely. As a team, get him shots that are makeable, that aren't like highlight level shots if they go in. Like, do something to help him out a little bit. And that was part of the stale offense in the Brooklyn game. It's like nobody can penetrate the paint enough to draw the defense to get him an open look closer than that. So they have to set up for the kick out even deeper than they already are, and he has to fire up from there. But yeah, what was he, 4 of 7 from 3 today? Looked great. Came out red hot. Really important makes early in this game to help the team get going. If the Celtics are going to hit their ceiling, he's going to have to be a big part of it. He's one of the returning guys. He's somebody who Nick NBA kind of pointed out has been streaky at times of his NBA career. He was definitely streaky last year. He was streaky in the playoffs a couple years ago. They need him to behave like he's one of the returning guys instead of somebody that like you're like, oh, they haven't played that much. They need to get their feet under them. Like, no, like, and it's not entirely his fault, but the shot needs to be there. He also had like some wrist sprain that was on the injury report. So that's something of note on his shooting hand to have a wrist sprain. It's going to affect your shot. It just is. But hopefully something can get him going and be part, like have him be part of the rotation, have him be part of a winning basketball formula because they need that. They need everybody who's back to look like themselves. Speaking of which, Derek White had like a classic Derek White game, like kind of quiet, 16 points, 14 points, right around there. Just about 50% from the field. Let me pull up the actual stats. 5-11 from the field, 2-4 from deep for 16 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks. Good Derek White game. And he didn't have to do too much. Perfect. Yes. This is how you get him his confidence back. He just hasn't quite been able to get there. We had like some fool's gold earlier in the month. We're like, he's back. And then he just was the worst he's been on Friday. Glad to see he bounced back well because confidence is a real thing.
Yeah, I think the Sam Hauser thing in particular, like he definitely needs to make his shots. He's missed plenty of open ones, but in the same way that we're like, oh, they're not finding Nimish Keita. When I say they're not getting Sam Hauser quality looks, I don't mean like the traditional, oh, is he open or is he wide open? Last year, the same shot he got with a chest pass is coming at his ankles, or it's making him move to the side, or like they're just it's tough to like get in the same rhythm shooting when you were getting passes in far different ways. And I think a big part of like I asked him in I think Philly, and I forget the exact quote about like what about this year has felt like your shots becoming different. And I think he mentioned just like the different personnel, the different offense, like how they're playing is a little bit different, so it's naturally going to be different. It's just something he's going to have to get used to. The same pass that he got last year out of the short roll from a zip pass from Cornette or Horford or Jason Tatum coming out of the pick and roll driving the ball is now Peyton Pritchard passing around 2 longer defenders that he's not used to being guarded by, or Jaylen Brown, who is just, I mean, this isn't the shot at Jaylen Brown, just not as good of a passer as Jason Tatum is. Like 8 assists, be like phenomenal. Like he's a good playmaker, but just like the actual art or the actual like act of passing the ball it just feels like he's not getting as crisp of passes as he did last year, which makes sense, but I think could be going into why he's maybe not necessarily playing quite as well. But outside of that, I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to go over from this game before we get on out of here. But
I mean, the Celtics, they definitely played with a better level of intensity. It didn't really translate to stops, though. Because I was writing my instant reactions, like in the first half when they were up 23, and I was like, man, they just played with a ton of energy. And then I was like starting to write it, and I was like, well, like, yeah, but they've just made a bunch of shots. Like, Orlando still scored 57 points in the first half without Paolo or Jalen Suggs or Wendell Carter or Goga Batadze. Like, maybe there is some tightening up to happen on the defensive end. But, like, in terms of effort, I don't think you really can knock them today. And the defense is just a connectivity issue, which they need to work on.
I agree. But yeah, let us know what you think. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll let Sam take it out.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe. We're here every day. Full pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Game recaps are up the morning after each game. And other videos are here in between to keep you up to date with all things Celtics. You can find Jack and I here on pregame live a half hour before every single game. We had special guests all season long. Robbie Fletcher today was awesome. We have somebody else on Wednesday for you. It's going to be a lot of fun. Don't miss it. So, yeah, we're here every day. Subscribe to the channel. We're on Spotify and Apple too. All pods and recaps are there. Just subscribe. They'll go right to your feed. Leave a 5-star review. We'd appreciate that very, very much. You can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. Read them every single time we do the show. hbtcpod@gmail.com. Our socials are at How About Them C's. Your Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook's name of the podcast. All streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter is Jack's1NBA. Mine's and Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.